Happy 2023. I hope that you had an amazing holiday season and it was one that was filled with joy, relaxation, rejuvenation, and a positive outlook to what the next year will bring for you. I am really glad that you're here with me today. I thought that this would be the perfect time to talk about setting our intentions and our goals for this year. We have 12 full months to make a positive impact in our life, to make maybe some changes that we need to make, to hit some goals that maybe we've been thinking about. And let's kind of dive into how we can do that. So I will say that one of the things that I notice every year, and I have been so guilty of this myself, is that people make goals and resolutions and they are big, and I call them end game goals, big end game goals. And it's like, I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to save $100,000. I want to get a 50% raise in my salary. I want to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning as opposed to 7 o'clock in the morning, just for example. And they do really good for a little bit of time, right? We get the first 2-3 weeks of January. And then by the last week of January, first week of February, they are pewtering out. They are just like losing steam. I've lost steam. This has happened to me many times. And then the goal and the drive, it's gone. It's like flying by the wayside. What happens? Well, the intention's there and the thought is there, and the go-getter attitude, that's there. But the goal is lofty. The goal is big. So you're running full steam to hit the end game goal, forgetting or maybe not knowing that the best way to do that, so that way it's permanent success and that way it's sustained, is to have little goals along the way until you reach your end game goal. So, what does that look like? So, that looks like one of my goals for this year is to walk 365 miles this year. I love to go for walks. It's really great for your mental health. It's really great for my mental health. I live in a beautiful area. It's just something I really enjoy doing. And I kind of fell away from it in the last year. So I wanted to give myself a goal that would encourage me to get out and walk. So I said 365 miles in the course of a year. That's like a mile a day, right? So what would this look like if I broke this down? Well, one, I want to have checkpoints. I want to make sure that I'm making progress towards the 365 miles. So I might say that in the course of a week, I need to walk an average of 7 miles in a week. So I can walk a mile every day, but if the weather is really bad one day, because I live in an area that gets moderate to severe winter weather. So if there's a day I can't walk, I have an opportunity to make that mile up another day and my progress won't be lost as long as I'm averaging 7 miles within the span of 7 days. Another thing I might do is give myself, so that's like an immediate short-term goal, right? I can put that in one of many fitness apps on my phone and measure that goal weekly. And it'll tell me, like, you have this many more miles to go. I am an Android Samsung user and I have a Samsung smartwatch that pairs with my phone. So my watch will actually tell my phone whether or not I've walked that many miles that I've set in my health tracker. So that's my immediate short-term goal, is to average that 7 miles a week. But then going out a little farther, I'm going to go out 3 months, and I'm going to say by the end of 3 months, I will need to have walked X amount of miles, and make sure that I'm hitting that target on a 3-month basis. So every 3 months that'll add up. That 3 months for a duration of 4 points, right? 3, 3, 3, 3 will give me my 12. We'll break it down in smaller increments to help me achieve that end game goal. And I know that's a very basic example and understanding, but that's literally how it works for any and every goal that you set for yourself. You need to have an immediate short term, like something I can measure in the week that I'm in. Or maybe it's just the 24 hours that you're in. Like maybe you're just going to, in 24 hours, I need to make sure I am consuming 20 ounces of water. I don't know. That's just what came to my head first. But something immediate that you're working on. Then you go a little farther out, and then you have your end game goal. So everything will add up. So my immediate will add up to the short term, and the short term compound will end up to the end goal. So that's my breakdown of how I achieve the goal. When I come up with my goals, I'm going to tell you like the full process of how I come up with my goals. When I come up with my goals, I use SMART goal planning. Not like I'm smart planning a goal, not like, oh, that's a clever goal, but literally SMART, SMART goal planning. This helps me determine whether or not the goal that I'm setting is realistic. Now, I know you might be out there, thinking, because immediately before I started doing this in my life, I would do the same thing. Well, shouldn't I have the crazy dream? Shouldn't I go for the crazy goal? Yes, you should. Yes, you should. But dreams don't happen overnight, and neither do goals. So you need to make sure you might have 2 or 3 goals before you hit the end goal. And that's okay. And that doesn't get talked about a lot because we need instant satisfaction, and we need to feel success immediately because we are a very fast culture, a very fast society. But you might need 2 or 3 goals before you get to end goal. So my dog is trying to climb up on my lap right now. No, thank you. And that's okay, because what that will do is that will set you up, one, to be successful. And we know that obtaining small successes along the way will keep you motivated. You'll have that behavioral momentum to keep going forward. And 2, that will help your goals and what you do achieve to be permanent and long sustaining. Sometimes if we just hit a goal and we hit it quickly and we don't have the foundation underneath us or the work behind us, the goal will fall off. You say like, oh, I want to pay off all my debt, and you rush and you throw all your money into your debt, and then boom, that's it. But you have no foundation underneath. You haven't budgeted. You haven't learned anything about finances. You haven't, fixed your income. You haven't done any of that other legwork. And then you turn around and in 30 days, you're back in debt again because you have to use credit cards or you have to take out that loan. So you want to make sure that your goals are buildable. So what does SMART mean? SMART means specific. Your goal has to be specific. It's okay if your end game goal is broad and overreaching, but the goal that you're going to work on right now, it needs to be specific. So if you say like, I want to lose 10 pounds, right? This is very common New Year's resolution and like New Year's goals, right? I want to lose 10 pounds. That's great. That's broad though. How do you want to go about doing that? How are you going to go about doing that? So I want to lose 10 pounds by sleeping an average of 8 hours a night, eating 2 healthy meals a day, and working out 3 times a week. And then you have to have a time stamp on that. Okay, when do you want to hit that goal by? So they say healthy weight loss is an average of like a pound and a half. No, a half a pound to a pound. Don't quote me here. A half a pound to a pound a week of loss. So you're looking at 10 weeks on average. So a little over 2 months. So 2.5 months. Set your date. But in between there, you should have some checks, right? So specific, measurable. So we're going to do this in 2.5 months. How are we going to measure this? Well, we're going to check in once a week with weighing ourselves. So we're measuring, right? Attainable. Is this attainable in your life right now? Do you have any underlying medical conditions, medications, stressors that might prevent you from reaching this goal right now? If so, those things need to be addressed. Is this goal a good fit for your life at this point in time? Are you ready to make space for this goal? Relatable and reliable are, right? Relatable, reliable. Is this a goal for you? Does it relate to you and what you want? Because if it's not from you, it's gonna fail. Well, let me say that again. If the goal is not from you, it's gonna fail. So if your therapist has given you the goal, if your trainer has given you the goal, if your partner has given you the goal, your parents, your friends, whatever, if somebody's written the goal for you, and you haven't had a part in that, if you haven't had a hand in planning that goal, if you haven't whatever, the goal is going to fail because it has to be from you. Period. It has to be from you. And it has to be time bound. Right? So we said 2.5 months, time bound. So that's how I do. That's every time I have a goal, I literally write down on a piece of paper. I don't have a piece of paper in front of me, of course. Smart. And I double check because my imagination can run away from me. And I have some big lofty goals and I have some big lofty dreams. And if I just write it out and I just run for it like a bull in a china shop, like a bat out of hell, I will burn out. I will burn out. So I always double check myself to make sure that my goal is smart. Excuse me. Does this allow me to reach my goals like ultra fast? No. But when I do reach my goals, they're permanent. So I encourage you to do that. This year, make a SMART goal. Now, what kind of goals do you make? I love this time of year, and I was just talking to my husband about this. We were actually just talking about this a couple of days ago. You know, we talk about it. We take the week between Christmas and New Year's. That's our week. And we literally take the entire week to reflect, to revisit, to, you know, kind of tally up what we've done. Did we make progress? Did we not? Did we hit our goals? Did we not? What worked? What didn't? What do we need to learn more? What was an epic failure? What should not have been on our plate? Sometimes we plan goals and they're frivolous. And that's okay because that's going to happen. There's no perfect goal out there. Sometimes you plan one and you look back and you go, oh, that was not the season for that. So we reflect. We do a lot of reflecting, and then personally and then together, we take a look at what we want the next year to be for each of us and then for us together. So for me, I do a couple of different things. One, I always have a personal growth goal. My personal growth goal this year is to journal. It's something that I do in practice. I am always telling my patients and my clients to journal, and I use it in conjunction with coaching and therapy and behavior change. And then it's something that I do not regularly practice myself. So I know that I typically try to plan something that's going to be hard, deep work for me. And that's hard, deep work for me. So I'm going to journal this year, and I have a SMART goal set aside for that. Then I have a mental health goal, something that's just going to make me stronger mentally, emotionally. A physical health growth, a physical health goal. I am constantly learning about best health practices and things like that. So every year I plan a physical health goal. I plan a fun goal for myself that's based off my hobbies. So I encourage you to do the same. Everybody needs a fun goal, but it has to be specific to you. It has to be something that you enjoy. And then I plan a finance goal. So, and then a family goal. So my finance goal is always in two steps. One is a personal career finance goal. I work a job and a career where I am in control of what I make. So I will literally, take a look at what's on my plate. I'm also at the end of medical school right now, approaching residency for the last 10 months. So I will take a look at that and then what I can put in my calendar for income and set an income goal. And then the second part of that is something that I sit down with my husband and we do together. And that is our combined finances. So we will set a goal to address debt that we have, just like many millions and millions of people out there. We have debt to pay off. We're almost to the end, and that's very exciting. We should have it paid off this year, which is super exciting. And then a goal for our savings account, a goal for the holidays, and a goal for vacation. So we will set those goals together. And again, those are SMART goals with measures and timestamps and what is attainable. This requires you to know your finances, to know what's coming in, what's going out, what's sitting out there in terms of debt, whether you have student loans, car payment, mortgage, whatever. And then be comfortable with the uncomfortable part of looking at it, talking about it, addressing it, and making a plan for it. And that wasn't something that we were always, I am so sorry. I feel like I breathed in dust and now it's just sitting there. Has that ever happened to you? And it's even weirder when that happens now in today's age because you immediately want to go, I don't have, the thing that shall not be named. But we weren't always comfortable with that. And we had to do some personal growth and growth together to get comfortable with that. Because the topics can be hard. And especially when you're in a place of debt and what's going out exceeds more than what's coming in. And if you've ever gone through, I know for us, we both had gone through pretty terrible divorces. We both had gone through bankruptcy and bankruptcy separately before we got married. we had a lot of work to do, and we had a lot of negative thoughts around money and a lot of negative, like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, the more money we earned, it didn't feel positive. It felt negative because, like, that's kind of how we were raised. Like, I can't explain it, but we had to do the work, and we did the work. And I suggest you have a finance goal. And if you are like me, like us, and you struggle with finances, with money, maybe you're in debt and you need to pay it off, or you're just like sitting in a rock hard place and you don't know where to get on. I really, 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 really suggest that. And this is not like, I don't get paid for these suggestions or anything. This is just what has worked for us and what has helped us. And it was like super easy to understand, and it was broken down, and we were able to work through the steps, and we were able to go online and print out the worksheets, and like, it was just clarity for us, but we had to put in the work to do it. I really, really suggest that you get, and I pulled this out, this book, Dave Ramsey, The Total Money Makeover. He goes through this process, and I'm not going to go through it now. This process called the snowball debt relief process. And there's like budgeting tools and debt payoff tools. And his daughter, Rachel Cruz, has a book out too. Oh my gosh, I wish I could remember the name to it. I read it, and it was like how to overcome having a negative mindset with money, and a little bit more of how to like manage your money and be okay with that, be confident in it, and really just like how to create a budget, like a legitimate budget, not like one of those fluffy floofy ones where you're like, I can't even breathe or live. So I really suggest that for you if you struggle with that too. And then, we set a family goal together for the new year. And this year, our goal is to have more family experiences together. Not necessarily big, lavish vacations or anything like that, but we live in a region that's full of mountains and lakes, and we live in a beautiful area. And we haven't really been to many of those places, and we like to hike, and we like to fish, and we like to be outside. So to have more authentic experiences outside of this house as a family, a little more exploring. There are a couple places that we will be going this year that we're fortunate for. Yeah. So that's how we do it. That's how I go through it. And each one of those goals that I just kind of like talked to you about that I'm going to be implementing in the next year, I go through that SMART goal process for each one of those things. Because I want to make sure it is a legitimate goal that I or we can obtain, and it's not like rainbows and bullshit. Right? It's not like, in my head, I would set a goal and be like, I'm going to buy a 200-acre farm that backs up to the woods. And in my head, I want that more than anything. But realistically, that's not a right now goal. That is like long term. That's a 5-year, 10-year goal. So I want to make sure my 2023 goals are aligning towards that one. But it's something that we can obtain. So, what do I do with that? Okay, I've got all these goals, and I made sure they were SMART goals, and everything's lining up. What do I do next? Well, that part's up to you. How will you remember your goals? Where will you put them so you can see them and remind yourself of them? Will you put them in your phone? So that way you have like an alarm set. Some people do that. My husband does that all the time. He's got a separate calendar in his phone, and he uses Notepad and everything like that. And he just puts his stuff right in there because he's techie and he likes to use that kind of stuff. I am not that person. So I've done a couple of different things if technology is not for you. So I have created vision boards in the past. If you're not familiar with a vision board, it literally is a poster board or a piece of paper, or you can create them on your computer now using things like Canvas or PicMonkey or something like that, where you literally will put pictures of your goals on this board. Like, it's supposed to be visually motivating and visually appealing. The only difference that I would do with my vision boards, because I'm so intent on keeping my momentum and my motivation, is I would put some dates on that board. So like if I put a picture, like let's say a couple years ago, one of my goals was to save up to be able to take my family to Disney. And I knew I needed to book that trip. This was like 2018, so we could go. We went in 2019. So in 2018, I had put a picture of the Disney castle on my vision board. And I knew that I needed to have the money saved by like it was like by June or July or something, because we were going to go in November of the following year. And I knew it was going to cost in between $7,000 to $10,000 for all of us to go. And I needed a lot of time at that time to save that money. So I had like 4 dates. Now I'm like jogging my memory here. I had like 4 dates next to that picture. And this was something that I would print out. So I'd made it on the computer, and then I would print it out and I would hang it over here. I have a cork board over here on the wall that you can't see. And every time one of those dates would come up, I would write down the amount that I had saved. I would pull out a certain amount of cash every time I got paid. And then I would go buy Disney gift cards. And I was like saving the Disney gift cards, because you can pay for a Disney trip like that. Or at least at that time you could. I don't know about right now, but at that time you could. So I was literally like hoarding a stack of gift cards. And then every time one of those dates came up, I would write the total amount that I had saved. So that way I knew whether or not I was making progress towards that goal. So a vision board is one way to do it. You can add your dates in, and it doesn't have to be big, just like the dates in a little line. So you can like check or write your total or whatever it is. Another way to do it is like in an Excel sheet, and then print the Excel sheet off. You literally can just write a list, or you can plug it into a calendar. So I've done all those things. I have done all those things over the years. One doesn't work any better than the other. It's really like what's going to be visually motivating for you. The other thing that I've done is I literally have broken apart my goals. So I wouldn't keep like a whole big list. I would put like one goal on a Post-it, another goal on a Post-it, and then I would put them in prominent spaces in my house that I would go to all the time, or that I would see. Like if I had a mental health goal, I would put that on my mirror in my bathroom, so I would see it every single day. And then my physical goal, I have a little space downstairs where I work out. That's where that one would go, because even if I wasn't working out, I still frequent that space quite often, and I would see it just to remind me. So I would hang those in spaces that I would see all the time. So I hope that is helpful. I hope that's helpful. And I hope that as we move into this year in full, that you take time to reflect, because there's still time. There's still time. You have time. You never run out of time to set a goal. That you take time to reflect, and that you take time to plan steps forward that are meaningful and intentional for your life. So that way you are elevating yourself. Your circumstances are always 100% up to you. And we don't get there. We don't change. We can't change our circumstances or our situations or anything like that unless we take the actions ourselves. It requires action to make a change, any change. So this is a great way to start off the new year, to have elevated intentions, motivations, goals. And if there's something that you do that works for you, within the subject line of like goal planning and intention setting and everything that I have not spoken about, please let me know, because I would love to include it so that way all of our listeners can be in on that. So maybe that might resonate with them a little better. So if you have something, please share it with me. I would be more than happy to put that forward. So, okay. I wish nothing but the best blessings for you in 2023. And we have a lot of learning to do together this year, and I'm really excited for it. We have a lot of great topics. We're going to have some guests this year, which is exciting. So I hope that you stay put with me. I hope that you keep listening, you keep sharing, because I love that. I love when you guys share. And I will see you soon. But in the meantime, be kind, be safe, be clever, be a good friend, make good choices, have fun, and more importantly, just breathe. See you next time, guys.